What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new found footage horror movie that was released in theaters for a limited run and is now available on VOD. And this movie was made by two internet influencers, and I feel like it's cool when people get a platform and then pursue something else that they might be interested in, whether that's filmmaking or music or whatever, when you kind of like lay the groundwork for yourself and then try to do something else. And so it doesn't always work out for people, but I always respect when people take the platform that they have and then try to do different things, maybe that they were interested in before. That's not necessarily the reason that they got popular on the internet. And I'm not sure what the instance is for these creators. I'm not familiar with them at all. But as I've said a million times, I review a lot of found footage movies. I love horror, I love independent horror. And so no matter what it is, I always want to try to give those type of creators a platform and discuss their art and see if it works for me or not. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is House on Eden. House on Eden is directed by Kris Collins. Paranormal investigators Kris, Celina, and their videographer Jay are rerouted to an abandoned house deep in the woods, where they find themselves facing a force unlike anything they've ever encountered before. As the night spirals into chaos, missing crew members and eerie phenomena hint at an ancient, malevolent presence watching their every move. So, like I said, I'm always excited to see independent filmmakers create found footage or horror films. I found some of my favorite horror movies over the past several years have been made by independent low budget horror filmmakers. And unfortunately, that will not be the case for this movie. This is one of the worst things that I have watched all year long. This was clearly made by people who have seen found footage films before, but clearly have no indication on what makes found footage films effective. This is one of the most miserable experiences that I've had watching a movie all year long, and this thing was less than an hour and 20 minutes, and it felt like it was 2.5 hours long. There is no tension, there's no suspense, it's not scary whatsoever. I feel like it doesn't help that the actors in this aren't really all that great either, and it just makes for a really bland experience. And I'll tell you a little bit about it as I break the movie down for you. The plot description did a really nice job summing it up. You have these creators who are paranormal investigators that are supposedly going to check out this cemetery until one of them in the group says, "No, I found out about this paranormal site that is the House on Eden that we're going to go try to find." And the beginning of the movie is them just trying to navigate their way to that location and eventually stumbling upon that location. They get inside, the place is abandoned, and obviously weird things start happening to them. And the entire movie is just the investigation of these characters onto this property. So, like I said, this movie was absolutely miserable. I honestly, this is one of the rare instances where, like, I don't have really anything positive to say. I like the location. I always like isolated horror movies that take place in like haunted houses. And I think like putting this house in the middle of the woods as like the central focal point of the investigation, it was interesting, and they try to incorporate some creepy imagery. It just didn't work for me. But the issues start with these characters. They might be likable personalities as far as like their influencer personas. Clearly they've gotten popular in one way or another, but in this particular instance they do not do a good job developing characters. It feels almost like they were hoping that people knew who they were and that that would be the attachment that you'd create, but like you're kind of just jumped into the situation, and it's just kind of them goofing off in the car together. And I feel like the camera work especially does not help the case whatsoever. But you just don't learn enough about these people or find it interesting enough to attach on to them for when they're put in danger for you to care all that much. I just found myself relatively irritated every time they were on screen. There was nothing about their personalities that really kind of drew me in. And like I said, that could be very different with their social media influencer personas. But like in this particular case, I just didn't think any of them were interesting enough to carry this movie along. The pacing in this thing, for being less than an hour and 20 minutes, is truly abysmal. It is like miserable to sit through this movie because these guys, it didn't even feel like they wanted to make a found footage movie. It felt more like they had cameras rolling and just wanted to goof off. And there were so many moments where I was just like, where is the tension and the suspense? Like, once they get into the house, they try to like showcase images and things that sort of hint at what's going on. But like, even when you have like creepy old lady standing in a room, or all these little things that they try to add in the end of the movie, there's just nothing that gets you to that point that makes any of it feel satisfying. Everything about found footage, I feel like personally, is build up or like having creepy images in the background. And it's kind of just like you spend half hour or whatever with these characters, and then you're just supposed to somehow be invested and care about this investigation that they're doing. And I just didn't find any of this to be scary. Like, every sort of horrific moment they were going for is something that I've seen done in every other found footage movie, but done significantly better. Like, you could just pick the cliches at the end of this, and it was really easy with the hints that they were giving to kind of piece together exactly where this movie is going. And I've said this before, not everything that's created anymore is going to be the most wholly unique and original content ever made. But I think you can do something that might not necessarily be the most unique and original property and add your own spin to it, or do something that makes it feel wholly and uniquely yours, even if the concept isn't. And that's the problem. This just felt like it was pulling from a bunch of different other found footage movies and horror movies in general, but just doing what it does significantly worse. Like, this is a minor gripe, I guess, but like the camera work in this found footage, you excuse the camera work because it is literally people filming handheld. A lot of times the way around it is you're talking about like, oh, these are people that have just never had that experience before, this, that, and the other. But the problem with this is the camera, especially early on, it's so shaky and just like impossible to really discern what's going on. There's like even like a gag at the beginning that they're like, we can't pull the focus on this, can you figure this out? And it's like, it doesn't really feel like any of them know how to operate a camera. And that became relatively infuriating as well, was like watching this and just feeling nauseated. Like, there are so many great low budget found footage movies that have come out in the past 5 to 10 years that I've talked about on this channel, that even if it's like not the most skilled cinematographer, or like it's meant to feel like someone just, picking up a camera for the first time, you understand as a filmmaker that you have to be able to discern what's going on. And there were so many instances in this where I'm like, the shaky cam, drop the camera type of thing just didn't work even aesthetically for the situation. And I don't know, there's nothing of value to this movie, unfortunately. There's nothing that you're going to get out of watching this other than saying like, oh, they're ripping off a bunch of different things that already exist and they're doing it significantly worse. This is one of the worst movies that I've watched all year long, and I will never watch this again. Have you seen House on Eden? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely horrible. I hated it, and I will never watch it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.